So I said, you know what? I need to make this about the community. The community needs to have a voice. The community needs to know what's going on. So in 2019, I did a campaign and I literally knocked on so many doors. Just last week, someone said to me, they introduced me to someone by saying, this is the only person that has ever knocked on my door to tell me they were running and why. And I fell in love with her at hello.
What does it really take to run for local office? On The Candidate, we're pulling back the curtain on the messy, expensive, and sometimes bizarre world of local politics. Join us as we share the unfiltered truth about what happens before you see those campaign signs pop up in your neighborhood. We're following serial entrepreneur Dave Kirpin as he dives headfirst into the world of local politics. Ready for a change in the world? This is your opportunity to be the candidate.
I am super excited about today's guest on The Candidate. Mariann Dalimonte is the councilwoman for North Hempstead's 6th District, proudly representing the community that she's called home for 4 generations, my community in Port Washington. Before holding office, Mariann served as the executive director of the Port Washington Business Improvement District. She led numerous school and civic organizations. She's a 4th generation Port Washington resident and someone that I'm really proud to call my friend. Mariann, thank you so much for joining us today on The Candidate.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So you've been so involved in our town. What first compelled you to step into public service and to run for office?
I was approached by former Supervisor Judy Bosworth to run in 2019. And I was really unsure about it. I wasn't sure if I should or I shouldn't. And there was a Main Street project going on. And the Main Street project was doing these bulb outs on Main Street. And the fire department and police department were against them because the turning a truck onto North Ballas or South Ballas, they didn't have enough turning space. And I was like, this is not right. This has to be all about the community. It can't just be about the elected official that represents District 6. So I said, you know what? I need to make this about the community. The community needs to have a voice. The community needs to know what's going on. So in 2019, I did a campaign and I literally knocked on so many doors. I have still to this day, just last week, someone said to me, they introduced me to someone by saying, this is the only person that has ever knocked on my door to tell me they were running and why. And I fell in love with her at hello. I developed so many amazing friendships in 2019 because of campaigning. And I worked very hard. And I wanted the residents of District 6 to know what was going on. So I started a newsletter in February of 2020. I was elected started January 1st of 2020. And in February of 2020, I started a newsletter. And after every town board meeting, I let people know what's going on, what was voted on in their district so they are aware. I let them know what's going on in events. I let them know what's going on in the town. I let them know what I'm advocating for. And I listen to the residents. I have over close to 5,000 people on my newsletter. If anyone wants to sign up, just go to the Town of North Hempstead website, click on Mariann Dalimonte, and there's a link there to sign up for my newsletter. I have to say, I started a trend. Now other council members have started newsletters because they've heard such wonderful things about my newsletter. And I do the newsletter myself.
Awesome. One thing that is amazing to me, we've talked a lot about partisan politics on the show here, and one thing that surprised me is how partisan local politics are. I don't understand why in a town it should matter so much whether you're a Democrat or Republican. But one thing that's also amazed me about you, Mariann, is how beloved you are by everyone. Like there's a lot of Republicans in this town. You're a Democrat, but there's a lot of Republicans in this town who adore you. How do you think you've been able to be so inclusive and so embraced by essentially both parties at a time where partisanship is pretty huge and pretty omnipresent. Like it's pretty much everywhere, and yet somehow like you're this exception to the rule.
So my first 2 years in office, obviously 2020 was COVID, was under former Supervisor Judy Bosworth. It was not political then. Town of North Hempstead, I was only there for 2 years under Judy, was not political at all. It didn't matter what your party was. It didn't matter if you were a Democrat, if she was hiring an attorney. She hired Republicans. She hired based on their resume. It's not that way the last couple of years with this administration. But I want to touch on, you said I'm loved by a lot of Republicans. So my whole family's Republican. I'm a Democrat. My mother's a Democrat. My stepfather's a Democrat. My husband and my kids are all blank. I am not going to vote based on the party. I'm going to vote what is right. It should, no one in all the years I've been in office since 2020, so for the last 5 years, not one person in the Democratic Party has ever told me how to vote. I will, and if you note, when we had the majority, when the Democrats had the majority, and Jen DeSena was the supervisor, I sometimes voted with the Republicans. I never got yelled at or in trouble for that. I voted for what I thought was right for the residents of the town of North Hempstead. So politics, to me, my first 2 years, it was not about Democrat or Republican. It was about doing what's right for the community. My last 3 years it's been very political. And I don't like that. And I think the community that I represent knows I am going to do what's right, what I feel is right for the community, regardless if it's a Democrat initiative or a Republican initiative. And I do think my community knows that. But I also listen to my community. And I go to meetings to hear what they have to say, because I feel it's very important to listen, because what I feel might not be the right thing. That's why you really have to educate yourself what the community feels.
Well, I love that, and of course, listening is my number one trait in likable leadership that I talk about and read about. And I think you're right. The community of Fort Washington loves you and trusts you because they know that you're going to do what's right, regardless of what the partisanship, what the party sort of line might be. I think the good news, by the way, is that it's refreshing to hear that the town wasn't once so political, right? So once I win, I will restore sanity and order and kindness and reduce the partisanship back again.
Please, communication, please. I have none. My emails don't get answered. My phone calls don't get answered. Please, I need someone who's going to communicate so I can communicate with the residents. For example, I sent an email in January about Pride Month. I sent an email in February. I sent an email in May. It was not until the Manhasset, Port Washington clergy and the Be the Rainbow started bombarding the supervisor with emails did we get an answer that we were raising the pride flag. That is not right. I have emails from from 2 weeks into her term that I sent her a 5-page email of what is going on in my district to try and get her up to speed, to let her know these are all the things that are pending in District 6. I still have not received a response. I set up a breakfast for her with Mayor Hagenson and the other mayors to meet. That took place. Like, I tried to help as much as I could. And I thought by doing that 4.5-page email that took me a long time to do would help her to know what's going on in my district. Still no response.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned we talked about listening, and responsiveness is another one of my core likable leadership traits. And it really is shocking to me, the lack of responsiveness. It's shocking. We raised the pride flag last night, so that was a nice moment. But it's unfortunate that the world doesn't, with the exception now of this podcast, the world doesn't hear about the dozens of emails that go unresponded to by the current town supervisor. They just see the results when eventually she raises the flag. But for whatever it's worth, Mariann, I am so grateful for you.
Thank
you. For a couple things. First of all, as my councilwoman, for representing me so well, for doing the work. I now see, now that I'm running, right, I see just how freaking hard this is and how much work it is. And I'm certain that you're not nearly appreciated enough for the amazing work that you do. So thank you for that. But more important, thank you for being such a model for me as a would-be elected official and would-be public servant for the right way to do things. Like, maybe my current town supervisor isn't such a great model, but you really are, and I am so grateful for you. But like, you're doing the work, and people don't understand. People think that this is easy. It's hard. It's hard work. It's really hard work, and no one wants to hear a complainer, but I can say it. I've seen how hard you work, and it's not fair that you are so underappreciated for all the work that you do.
I do this because I love our community and I love helping people. I truly enjoy helping people. It is a 24/7 job, and that's okay. There's been nights where I'll come home late at night and I'll go to bed, and the next morning my husband's already left for work and I haven't seen him for 3 days straight. Like, there's been weeks where for 7 days I only ate dinner with him once, and I'm only representing one district. You have to be there for your community. Going to the events and taking photos is the fun part, but there's a lot of work. So I try to make as many events as I can and things like that, but I also do the work. I'll stay up to 2:00 in the morning returning emails, following up. I have a pending file. And when someone reaches out to me, I put it in that pending file and I follow up. I have monthly meetings with the department heads to find out. But it's kind of hard with this administration to get things done. I try my best because there's no communication. And to me, communication is really key. I hear it at every board meeting. At every board meeting, there's at least one person that comes up and says, I try to set up a meeting with you. I emailed you and I only got your response. I hear that at every single board meeting, and I even get that from my residents. I have, there are residents that reach out to me from other districts that I have built relationships with, and they're always asking me to help them.
Because you answer, because you help. What's one thing Mariann, what's one thing that surprised you in a positive way and one thing that maybe surprised you in a negative way about the work that you're doing and local politics and government?
Positive way with local government. There's so many positives. I mean, when you are honoring somebody that deserves to be honored, and seeing that smile and seeing their family so proud, it brings tears to your eyes. It's happy tears. That's Like the positive is recognizing people in our community who go above and beyond. Like I honored someone about a month ago that started recycling sneakers, and he has cans all over the community, and he sends them out. I honored somebody last year that started collecting food, and he has cans in a bunch of merchants, and then he brings the cans, then he brings the food down to Our Lady of Fatima, the food pantry. And he also started a garden at his home to give fresh produce to the pantries. So that to me, like the positive is seeing so much good in people. The negative is they think that you have a magic wand and you can change things or take care of their issues immediately. And there's so much red tape to go through that I wish I had that magic wand. I try my best, but it doesn't always get done as fast as it should get done.
Yeah.
I can't begin to tell you how many emails I have to send to get one thing done. Because, District 6, only one district. There's 6 districts in the town. It's 230,000 residents. There's problems in all the districts. Everything can't just be done for your district. It has to be spread out and done for everybody.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll speed some things up in the future when we have a new town supervisor. I want to get back to campaigning before we have to wrap up in a moment. What's one of the goals of the show is to help inspire would-be candidates, would-be local candidates, non-politicians to get involved. What advice would you give somebody that's listening, that's maybe thinking about running for office? What would you say? Yeah, what would you say to them?
I would say to them, really think about it. It takes time away from your family. It's not easy. It's not all fun. It's hard work. To get elected is hard work. And once you're in the position, it's hard work. And be true to yourself. Don't ever, ever have someone tell you how to vote, what to do. You do what you feel is right in your heart. And you do what's best for your community, that you think is best for your community, and educate yourself before every vote. Research it. Don't just rubber stamp things. You need to do your research.
Love it. Last question. Who do you? Well, actually, I'll two quick questions. Who do you call when you need advice?
My mom.
And your mom?
My mom. And today's her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Mom. Hopefully we'll get you to listen to the show. Happy birthday, Mom. Awesome. And who's the most underrated power player in New York politics today?
That's a tough question. I would have to say maybe Richie Torres.
Well, you know what? You know I love Richie. We're working on getting him on the show. So maybe you just mentioned him, and this will go. This
I've
clip
only
will
met
go
him once, and I think he's the most underrated.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan, of course, and maybe we'll get this clip to go viral, and then we'll bring Richie on the show. Mariann Dalimonte, my councilwoman, a mentor, a friend. Thank you so much for joining us on The Candidate today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And until next time, like, subscribe, share, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Paid for by the Friends of Dave Kirpin. Thanks for going behind the scenes with us on The Candidate. If you enjoyed getting the real story about running for office, take a moment to rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts. Your support means the world to us. See you next time.